So, people are wondering, how in the world do I address the realities of the complexity of today's market, all the uncertainty, and what you need to do? So, some people are wondering, like, hey, is this the right time to start my business? How do I scale my business? Um, I think I don't know if, like, either one of those questions are what I would be asking at this particular time. Like, I think it's really hard to think about scale when you're not quite sure where things are at. I think it's around, how do I stay grounded and focused on what I'm supposed to do and being of service during this time period so that I can make the biggest impact. So, when you think about your client, so you're asking these questions because you're wondering, all this uncertainty is affecting your own consulting or coaching business. I just want to get you out of your own head and think about it from your client standpoint. So let's say you're somebody who works for an organization who is retail based and there's all these changes with the supply chain. Get in their head and think about, like, needs that they have that they may not even know that they need to have, and proactively advocate for your contribution for those. Give them a call and say, "Hey, I'm wondering about XYZ, how this is affecting you. Do you need a thinking partner?" Like, there's so many opportunities that are outside of, like, a bigger long-term project that you could still scale your impact in a more meaningful way. Like, maybe you could offer a trusted advisor program or something along those lines. If you're a web developer, like right now, like, maybe it's not the time to say, well, how do I sell big complicated website projects? Like, maybe, like, one of the things I want to offer my clients is a quick and dirty, really high quality single page website. And, like, that's a way to be more relevant to the time period. But if you're a coach, you need to imagine, like, well, what kind of stress might be going on in a family? Like, if, let's say, you're a relationship coach, you don't, like, shirk back from the opportunities. You see the new opportunities that is created by the uncertainty. So you make sure that your messaging is relevant. You're speaking to that. I just launched a new audio training on how to own the power of what you do and moving from playing small to playing true. And one of the things I do need to address, I'm not going to address it in my main program because I want to keep that more evergreen. But in the email sequence, I'm going to acknowledge, like, well, am I even reading the same headlines as everybody? So you just need to be relevant. And if you're posting content, be relevant to your people. If you're somebody who helps people with podcasts, you might say, like, now more than ever, your voice needs to be heard. You put that urgency in there, like, now more than ever, your clients need you. That's the language I'm using now, but it's also because it's kind of, like, on my missional heart, like, now more than ever is not the time to play small. Like, that's my word. You gotta figure out your own. Okay, so I think that the idea of scaling in this market has to go back to my belief around, what does it mean to scale your impact? So I think if you're a consultant or coach and you have boutique services, and then you think, oh, I just want to add courses and that's going to create scale, you're actually switching your business model. The courses, the people who create courses that fly off the shelves are people who have an entire ecosystem that goes along with the courses. Like, you just don't add another course and think, okay, magically now everybody's going to want to buy my course, because there's a reason why somebody invests in a one-on-one experience as they would in a course. So people like courses is they want to dip their toe in the water. They want to be able to have a low cost thing because they're not all in. People invest in a one-on-one solution because they really want to create results. And so there's a very different reason. Like, I could hire a course. I could buy a course to learn how to do podcasting, and I might just, like, play around with it on the weekend, but I'm not really dead serious about my podcast. Like, if I was dead serious about my podcast, like I am serious about my podcast, I hire a team to help me strategize my podcast, make sure it's set up properly, make sure that I have the support that I need in order to do the editing and make sure that it sounds good and helps me repurpose my content. Like, I'm investing in that kind of thing. So if you're a consultant and you want to scale up, you want to work more hours. I mean, you want to, no, nobody wants to work more hours. You want to be able to make more money without working more hours. I would probably say your challenge is not going to be in this economy. Your challenge is probably how you're positioning yourself. So if you're positioning yourself as a contract worker who's mostly paid by your hours, then that's going to be a problem. What you really need to do if you want to scale up your impact as a consultant is you need to pivot out of the client's wants, get into their needs, really get clear on their strategic priorities, position yourself against their biggest strategic opportunities, yourself as a partner, and you create options that will help them get to that goal in a more valuable way. That's how you scale up in general. So I don't think you would look at it as saying, I want to scale up in this time period. It's, I want to scale up in general. If you're a coach, you need to start offering programs. You got to get out of the hourly model and you need to look at programs. So, like, one of my clients is a parent coach. And so she was doing like these hourly kind of rates, like you're never going to scale up that. And what she was doing is when people had questions like in between sessions, like she was just giving that stuff away for free. I'm like, that is the value. So you put it in as part of your package. So you, instead of doing paid by the hour, you shoot for maybe $5,000 packages that includes an upfront assessment, X number of coaching calls, and the unlimited on call access, plus maybe a library of resources and other things that they might have. Now it's a package. And that's how you're gonna scale up in general. How you scale up in this an economy that's kind of like a little bit nutty is you just have to improve your messaging and the way that you are setting up your packages to resonate where people are at right now. How do I help people, with, more strategically framed and positioned and priced offers that will help them get paid for the value that they create versus their time? This is a huge part of my brand positioning program. So what's different about my brand positioning programs is it's not like sales. Like, some people just do that kind of stuff separate as part of sales. I hook it onto, it's the second part of your brand messaging and positioning. So you still have to get clear on who your ideal client is, what's the problem you solve, how are you different, and you need to get your foundational messaging done. Then the second step is you go into getting clarity on how are you going to frame your offers, how are you going to strategically frame them so that they represent meaningful solutions that people can invest in, and really build your skill set around how you position those offers so that you're not going to be that paid by the hour order taker that has no hope of scaling in any economy, good economy, bad economy. That's just like not the way you want to go about doing it. And then we work on, your website and your content marketing and all of that, like that comes later. But that's like a huge part of what I do one-on-one with my clients. Learn all about my strategic brand messaging and positioning programs, along with my strategic framing and pricing at my website at www.betsyjordyn.com/services. And don't forget, Betsy Jordyn is with a Y, not an A. There's a different Betsy Jordyn out there who's getting all my emails.